The SGPN Fantasy Football Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. Bet $100 at WynnBET and get a $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. How we doing, everybody? Joining us today is Manny. I'm super happy to have him on this morning for an SGPN Underdog podcast. How we doing this morning, my man?
I'm doing good, bro. Appreciate the invite, man. I'm pumped. I'm excited. It's Friday morning, and I got my orange Powerade. Woo! I'm hyped up. Let's go, man.
I went to McDonald's this morning, got myself a cup of coffee, McGriddle with a round egg. That's a pro move right there. So that's how I'm starting off my morning. I was bartending a little late last night, so I needed a little fuel. So just jumping into some of the initial news here. Man, that was a rough game last night. It's just tough. It's just you know what? It's just tough with Tua. You know what I mean? It's hard to even think about anything else. Do you have any first impressions on the Dolphin side? You know, like I know we have no idea how long Tua is going to be out yet, so it's even hard to project that. We don't know if he'll be back next week or if he's going to be out a month. It's really hard to tell at this point. So prayers to him. Hopefully he's doing well. And but yeah, just some of your initial feelings. Do you know if he's going to be out a couple weeks? Where do you think that puts the Dolphins players today?
So before the game, I was excited for the game, even though we know that Tua really got a concussion last week and they brought him back way too early. And then, the whole injury thing. And the funny thing was not funny, but the crazy thing was I wasn't watching the game. I was busy at the time, but I'm following Twitter and everybody's saying, oh my gosh, praise for Tua, praise for Tua. I'm getting scared. I'm like, what is going on? Everybody's doing prayer, emojis and all of this. So I go back and I see the play and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is bad. This is bad. His fingers, he's just not moving. When the whole team comes to the middle of the field or to attend to that player, it's not good. So it's not going to be like a week or two type of thing. At least 4 weeks from what it looks like, but they said that they're going to run like a little they're going to run a what do you call that thing? MRI. They're going to do that, right? But then they're saying like nothing was broken. Everything came back negative, which is good. His family was there. But I think it's going to be several weeks. It's going to be several weeks. And it's sad because I'm a big Tua fan. I'm a big Tua believer. I was really enjoying his play this year, and I was so excited for the game. And, devastating, man.
It's a huge bummer.
Yeah,
it's a huge bummer. I found out in a similar way you did. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I couldn't have the game on behind me because Amazon. So I have it like I'm just pulling it up when I can. Right. And Amazon, of course, thanks Jeff Bezos. I can't put the game on at the bar at my French restaurant anymore because it's on Amazon Prime. So,
right.
But yeah, that's exactly what I was just seeing. Like I just saw some references to Tua, and I was just like, wait a minute. I was like, no, actually, no. I remember what it was. I was looking up the scores. I kept refreshing, and Teddy Bridgewater was throwing passes. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't good. And so that's super super unfortunate. I looked at the play too. It didn't look good, and no matter what happened last week, like now it doesn't look good. You know what I mean? Like regardless of what happened. So. Yeah. I imagine that they're really going to cross their T's and dot their I's this time. I think you will probably. I'd be surprised if you saw him this week.
It's like I have no words. I can't even get my words out. That's how bad it is. Like just replaying that in my mind and what his fingers are doing. And I mean, it was bad. It was bad. It was scary. It was scary. And
it reminded me of the Donald Parham play last season. I don't know if you saw that, but it was exactly like that.
I saw it. Yeah. And Parham, did he even come back? Did he?
Parham, he's back with the Chargers.
I'm saying like that year. That year
it was at the very end, I think. He didn't come back. Yeah, it was like one of the. It was like the first or like second to last week or last week.
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of tough to. I think with Teddy Bridgewater, I think Tyreek Hill is going to be fine. He's not going to have that ceiling he's had the first couple weeks, but I think that kind of puts Jalen Waddle in a tough spot. I don't know if he's going to. I don't know if he'll be. He's definitely not going to be anywhere near where he's been the first few weeks here. So I think you can kind of put him as a more of a low end wide receiver 2 until Tua comes back.
Yep.
Which is kind of kind of a boomer bust low end wide receiver 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the Bengals side. Once again, it was kind of you expected him to do. It's just not quite clicking like it used to.
You're right.
What are your impressions of the Bengals offense right now?
Bengals offense looks terrible. it's like you don't know. There's no consistency. Is it going to be Tyler Boyd? This has been Tyler Boyd 2 weeks in a row. Jamar Chase, where are you? I can't find you. You're in a milk carton right now. I'm looking for you. I can't find you. Then you have T. Higgins, who has the big game, right? And Hayden Hurst, tight end premium. Appreciate you, Hayden. He comes in, gets me a touchdown. So that offense is real funny, and Joe Burrow is not that QB1. He's not going to be a QB1 this year. The way that it's going, you might look at him as a low-end QB1, mid QB2, just because of the rushing upside isn't there. So that offense is scary to me. It scares me, especially with Jamar Chase not getting the love that he was getting last year. I don't know, man. Like that Bengals offense looks crazy right now, and there's just no consistency out of it.
Yeah, Higgins, I think you can keep moving him up. It seems to be more pretty even between him and Chase, And I think Chase is going to have his better weeks. If I was drafting, of course, I would still take Chase first. But man, it's closer than I think a lot of us would anticipate it. Higgins is very good. And if Chase is going to draw that strong coverage, it's very easy to hit Higgins, who would be the wide receiver one for 26 or 2017.
Absolutely.
So and then Mixon, man, it's just he saved himself with a little bit with a touchdown yesterday, but man, he just has so much. I keep saying to buy him low because man, it's just so much opportunity. He's got 4 passes again yesterday. There's no one getting as much volume as him in the NFL. So it's just it was a touchdown yesterday, so it was a good performance. I think about 17 PPR fantasy points, but still, it's I feel like just this offense is just waiting to get there. It's waiting to get there. It's waiting to get there. So. We'll see what happens. I'm still buying the Bengals offense. I can't help it. They're fantastic. It's just so tantalizing, all that talent.
Right.
Hayden Hurst caught a touchdown too, so I'll take that.
Yep.
So jumping into some of the biggest storylines, just going on in fantasy football right now. Man, the one I can't get out of my mind is the running back landscape. It's just so ugly right now, and it's an unheard of kind of start for it. What are your impressions right now?
Perfect segue. When you was talking about mixing, I said, let's go ahead and segue into, but I'm not the host. So it's the perfect segue to the running backs, because in some leagues, I went hero running back, and I'm hurting right now. Dalvin Cook, where are you? Austin Eckler, thank God it's PPR, because if it's not PPR, you're struggling with Austin Eckler right now. Derrick Henry, what is going on? You finally have a good game that was PPR friendly, but that's not the norm. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all these running backs, Christian McCaffrey, that's so great. He's not even a top tier running back, but a guy like James Robinson is. James Robinson, the guy that I got from waivers for free, he went undrafted in a 5-bench league. So it's kind of like, what is going on? I draft Eckler because he's safe, right? But then he's not giving you that RB1-esque type thing. Jonathan Taylor, same thing. So all these great running backs, Najee Harris, all these different guys, like I can't even tell you honestly who is the running backs 1 through 5 right now. I know that James Robinson is up there somewhere, but it's just bananas right now. You have a guy like Antonio Gibson, like we were talking about earlier, wasn't supposed to really be much of anything. The whole fantasy community, Twitter world, Commanders world, all said, hey, forget this guy. And then he's been a top 12, top 13 type guy. It's really, really weird. And for those who went 0 RB, they're the ones that are winning right now. When you go, Diggs and Devontae Adams on a 12-13 swing or turnaround or whatever, the running backs are not looking pretty hot right now. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna give just a little bit. I'm gonna make them feel better. Those guys who draft those early running backs. So you did go. If you went 0 running back, yes, you feel great about those wide receivers that you have. You're getting a great floor every week, but I'll tell you, a lot of those, the victory lap guys that they were going for, or not the victory lap, but the guys that they were hot on before the season, Chase Edmonds, there's those guys aren't succeeding either
at all.
Ramondre Stevenson, he did well last week, but still up and down. Kareem Hunt, great first week. It's so. I mean, I see where they got their great wide receivers. I think that, but like, I at least have hope that Eckler and Cook. And so some of these guys are going to bounce back and have some better weeks, because it's almost we're in a statistical anomaly here. What's happening right now? So a little bit, their scoring's down a little bit. People aren't being touchdowns are down. So if that stuff rectifies, I think we will see a little bit of improvement. But man, some of the guys that you drafted, if you went 0 running back, they're not doing that well either. So it's just interesting. And there's not many success stories. I've been saying that Nick Chubb is my guy for the rest of this
season. That's my guy.
What else are you gonna do?
That's my guy. In so many leagues, I went Eckler, Chubb. And I'm feeling so great about life going Eckler, Chubb. Like, Chubb was just there in the 3rd round. In a lot of Superflex leagues, he was there in the 4th round. Like, it was bananas how much Chubb fell because of quarterbacks getting pushed up and things of that nature. But what I want to ask you this is, in a league that I did, I drafted Eckler, obviously pick number 3. Should have went Cooper Kupp, but I went Eckler, pick number 3. I feel that Eckler is going to get 100 catches this season. I felt that last year, fell short. I still feel that. I still feel strongly about that this year, especially with Keenan Allen out. Now, I took Eckler, then I didn't grab another running back until the 4th and 5th round. And that was Breece Hall in the 4th. It's a redraft league. And then I think in the 6th round, I took Antonio Gibson. I feel really good about my running back room. And then also getting James Robinson for free at the, on waivers. Like, he was just free agent, so.
That's great. I love it. I was on James Robinson early in the summer. I took a bunch of them, and then I let everyone scare me off. I got pressured. I got bullied. I posted in June to take James Robinson because people are coming back from injury sooner than ever. And then I just got jumped on by fantasy football doctors telling me that it's impossible and it's not going to happen. I was just like, oh, okay, fine. Maybe I'm wrong. But I should have had the courage of my conviction and kept taking him all summer.
Man, I took him everywhere. And the funny thing is I play in a 6-keeper league, and I took James Robinson like in the 4th or 5th round. I mean, he was dropping. And the guy says, oh, man, he's grabbing all these guys that have no knees. They're just one injury away. So now I'm 3-0 in that league. I have Eckler and I have James Robinson. I took A.J. Dillon in the 1st round because in a keeper league, there's not a lot of talent left. So I'm just grabbing any running back that's available. And now I piece it with the beast wide receivers and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Devontae Adams and this guy and Kelsey and Josh Allen being my quarterback. And I've won that league 2 years in a row. We're talking about 3 years in a row now. And it was just thanks to grabbing James Robinson, saying, hey, he is available. The value is there. He's dropping. Why not scoop him? And then now I'm looking like a genius. And it was not even part of my plans whatsoever. So it's a weird year so far, especially for running backs. But I'm with you. I think that things are going to bounce back for guys like Kamara and CMC and Dalvin Cook as the season wears on. We're really going to see these guys start to really come out and start to play some serious football.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to. I just can't believe where it's an unbelievable start for the elite wide receivers, and it's an unbelievably poor start for the running backs. I mean, it's hard to find many success stories in the 1st round. DeAndre Swift is now hurt, so you look at Nick Chubb was going to 3rd round. Saquon Barkley is the guy that are we just going to rank him and Nick Chubb? That might be the RB1, RB2 the rest of the season.
Man, I was out on Saquon Barkley everywhere, and I feel bad because he's hurt me the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. And absolutely. I've had tons of Christian McCaffrey. When I say tons, I'm talking about 40% of CMC in Dynasty. I sold them off in the offseason for great hauls. And if I didn't get the full maximum value, I kept them. So those 2 guys have hurt me. And there was leagues where I had both of them, literally. And I'm like, nah, I can't do this. Then I don't have the handcuffs. Is it Foreman? Is it Breida? Is it, what do I do? Are those handcuffs going to be anything? Nah, let me just go ahead and load up on other people's handcuffs, because you don't know. Let me get a Jamal Williams because I need running back help. And I've lost championships because no running backs, Henry gets hurt. So I'm like, it kind of puts you in that mindset of 0 running back, even though you don't want to fully 0 running back, but you gotta you can't. It puts you in the mindset like, okay, let me grab 1 running back early, let me grab 1 middle, let me grab 1 later, and let me grab 1 late. Before I used to go RB, 4 picks in a row, 3 picks in a row, and then let's say that all 3 guys are the guys that get hurt or not performing. Then you start taking L's. Then you start selling these same running backs for wide receivers that you could have drafted. So it's kind of like RBs are scaring me right now, but they're definitely gonna pick up steam.
Well, yeah, you know what? Luckily I was I'm a hypocrite. I was all off season. I was saying, I'm done with Barkley. You know what I mean? What the Giants' offense sucks. But then June, in June and July, all it took was those muscle photos again. And I was just like, and I posted an apology. I was like, I'm sorry, Saquon.
Right.
I always like, I do need you. So I remember I was just like, I fell for him all over again. Just like those shirtless, just muscles coming out of muscle Priest Home style photos. Shout out to my guy. But man, it was just that. So that's how I got a ton of him in best ball for that reason. I have I picked him up a lot in the third round when he was going in that room. So I'm happy about that. Before we jump into the next part though, I'm just going to do a quick little pay some bills really quick. Thinking of joining WynnBET? Now is the perfect time. New customers who bet $100 get a $100 free bet. Plus, the WynnBET casino is always open 24 hours a day where you can get a 100% deposit up to $1,000. WynnBET is live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. There's so much to choose from. All you have to do is head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET so they know we sent you. That's sportsgamblingpodcast/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. Offer subject to terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBET is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. PromoGuy.us is the best place to go if you're interested in plus EV betting strategies. If you're not already using mathematical models to help you with your picks, you are missing out on an insanely valuable tool. And the best part of it is that Promo Guy is run by a small team of passionate sports fans dedicated to building a well-informed betting community. Go to promoguy.us and check out their 100% track and transparent and proven method for betting smarter. So make sure you check out promoguy.us. Man, that is tough. That my computer won't pull up Slack, and I am trying to read. My eyes aren't very good, and I'm trying to read off my small phone over there, trying to make it look like I'm looking forward. Whew. This is going to be. We'll have some fun this episode. It's going to be good. Whew. All right, it's testing my limited eyesight that I've ruined over the last couple of years looking at my phone too much. So
yeah.
But jumping into the next, there's another pretty desolate area right now, and man, tight ends again. Here we are. I remember people thought before the season, hey, it's not going to be so bad this year. I like these guys. Well, that's what we say every year.
Yep.
Here we are again. Man, this is the running back landscape looks like the tight end landscape like it does every year. But man, is there anything is there any hope outside of Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce this year?
There's not. I talked about this on my show. Actually, the last two shows, I've been talking about this tight end group. And I'm like, everybody who faded tight ends, you're looking okay, because for me, I was a Dalton Schultz believer. I'm thinking, okay, you have CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott is going to pepper targets to Schultz. He's going to be the number 2 targeted guy in the offense. And I'm drafting this guy maybe a round too early just to secure that I get him, especially if I miss out on the Travis Kelce's of the world. And I was out on Kittle just because of that like the injury thing with Kittle. He doesn't score enough touchdowns, but he's going to give you 4 games every year. Exactly. Those 4 games are going to either put you in the playoffs or put you in position to be in the playoffs. I was talking to my brother-in-law, and I told him, man, you got Kittle, you bought him low, good stuff. He gives you those 4 games, and he busted out laughing. He literally gives you 4 games, and then he's done. So it's kind of like it's a plug and play. Playing tight ends this year is as worse as playing defenses. It's as worse as playing kickers. Trying to figure out who to stream is nuts. 1 week, Logan Thomas looks great. You're like, oh, wow.
I was on Logan Thomas. I liked him.
You see what I'm saying? Another week, Hayden Hurst. We was all excited for that hype going into that offense. You know, you're going to get some love. And then there's been guys like Gerald Everett. Like, what's going on? And then it'll flip-flop. Tyler Conklin is the number 3 or number 4 tight end in football right now. Tyler Conklin, who plays for the Jets. He plays for the Jets, and he's the number 3 or 4 tight end in fantasy football right now. It's crazy. That's outside of tight end premium, just regular PPR. So it's just crazy to me. If it's not Kelce, if it's not Andrews, you're in trouble. And that's why I go Kelce or Andrews in the first or second round, just to kind of just get that position solidified and just get it over with. People might say, oh, you're overpaying drafting Kelce at 11 or 12. But hey, if you have a Kelce in your lineup getting you 17 to 20 points on most weeks, you feel good about your team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And instead of like you're playing Russian roulette with, oh, do I go Like, I think this week I'm starting Conklin, but then it might be Logan Thomas, right? I dropped Logan Thomas. Then it might be, Schultz might be able to play. It's just too much going on in the tight end world right now that just find somebody, plug them in, and just pray.
Yeah. It's more touchdown dependent than ever. You're just hoping a guy catches a touchdown pass. That's all they're going to do.
That's it.
It's tough. I like Tyler Higbee is getting targets. He's one guy that I like a little bit down there that I picked up in drafts. So he I would feel comfortable starting. There's a couple guys. You just feel comfortable starting because there's nobody else. But man, it's rough. I'm putting Travis, and so all my cash lineups in DFS, I'm putting in Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce. Yep. Next year, Travis Kelce's a a little bit older. I might have a little hard time drafting him, but man, I'm gonna have a hard time in my redraft leagues not just taking Mark Andrews in the first round next year.
Exactly. Him and Lamar have such a connection that I've never seen before. It's like that Mark Andrews is getting the ball and you still can't stop it. He reminds me of Kelce when Kelce was younger, and you just knew Kelce was gonna walk out of this game with 17 to 20 points. Like, you can just pencil that into your lineup. You just know that that's safe. And that's what Mark Andrews is doing right now. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson, of course, has been fantastic too. I just did a best ball resurrection draft. It's a best ball draft that's starting in week 6. Actually, Underdog does fun stuff like that, and so it's starting up in a couple weeks. And I took Lamar Jackson in the first round. It's a shallow kind of lineups. It's half PPR. There's 2 wide receivers. There's 2 running backs and a flex, and I just think Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, and Josh Allen are cheat codes this season.
Yep. And let me give you my Lamar Jackson prediction. I want to brag on myself a little bit. I've been talking to Lamar Jackson. I've been telling everybody, grab Lamar Jackson. And I grabbed him mid to late in every single startup that I did. So I have at least 15 shares of Lamar Jackson. So I'm feeling good about life right now. So my predictions coming into the season, Lamar Jackson passes for 3,500 yards. That's one.
That's low now.
Yeah. Number 2, Lamar Jackson passes for 25 touchdowns.
That's low now.
Lamar Jackson rushes for 1,100 yards.
Now that's still bold. That's a bold
one. Lamar Jackson rushes for 10 touchdowns. Those are my predictions. But so far, so good.
He's exceeding your expectations so far.
Man, and I said this. I said if Lamar Jackson does everything that I said that he would do, he's going to be QB1 this year. So far, so good.
Absolutely, he's fantastic. He's really developed. Jalen Hurts and Lamar. I have questioned their build. Just to run a traditional. I just wondered if they kind of had to do a run heavy offense that wasn't in today's kind of times really. So I did question that a little bit, and they're putting it to rest so far. Me
too.
They're really showing their chops as passers. They've really shown improvement. They're top line passers who also have high rushing ability. So, I think you might find with the volatility now at running back and tight end, wide receivers are great, but I think you might go back to early quarterback a little bit. I know, it has been how quarterbacks are like in one quarterback, it was like fade the quarterback. But that was because a lot of the time we didn't have Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts for a long time. So everybody was kind of, all these pro style quarterbacks were kind of jumbled together. Mm-hmm. So now when you have these guys, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, and Josh Allen are real difference makers. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen and Justin Herbert are so talented that they can be up there too. But while these guys are at the top of their abilities rushing the ball like this, it's hard to take anybody over them in fantasy.
You know what this reminds me of? In the leagues that were one quarterback leagues back in the day, when Peyton Manning was going first round, you knew that Peyton Manning was getting 40 touchdowns or a high touchdown number to where Peyton Manning led all quarterbacks in touchdowns. Like, he was just that good. And I saw a lot of one quarterback leagues where Peyton Manning was going in the first round. This sounds crazy, but it was like, it's kind of like getting Travis Kelce in that first round. It's like when you get that Peyton Manning and you put him in there, you know what you're going to get. You know he's going to lead the league in touchdowns. And then once that kind of faded out, it was like, oh, there's more quarterbacks coming up. It started to be a rise of quarterbacks. Now it's like, okay, you can get quarterbacks later. But now to get these special quarterbacks, like you said, like the Lamar Jacksons and the Josh Allens, they're definitely worth being drafted in the first 3 rounds. And I don't even mind. I don't even mind taking one in the first round If you say, hey, this is going to be the guy, if you can pinpoint and say this guy's going to be QB1 overall, and you get that guy in the first round, I have zero problems with it whatsoever.
Yeah, it really. I drafted so much Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts in my best ball leagues and redraft leagues, so I'm feeling great right now. Yeah. I think we're going to win some money this year. But
yes, sir.
Let's go before we jump into some underdog stuff real quick. I just want to jump into a quarterback who's not doing so great. I just want to talk about the Denver offense really quick, man. And it's so tough because I was on kind of everybody. I thought it was going to be. I was really a big Javonte Williams guy, and he's getting the work that I like. It's just, man, he's the RB18 on the year in a terrible offense. You know what I mean? Yep. So I feel like he would be a top 10 back if this offense was doing anything like what we thought it was going to do. Jerry Jeudy's outside of that touchdown the first week, kind of not doing so much. But once again, Russell Wilson is terrible right now. So it's tough. It could have to do with the play calling. I'm not sure what's going on. Is there any cure for the Denver offense? Do you see it getting better?
Man, it's going to get better, but you have to tailor the offense to fit Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is a great quarterback. No knock on Russell Wilson, but it makes you think, is Russell Wilson a system quarterback? You can realistically think, is he a system quarterback? Because if he's a quarterback, you should be able to adapt to any system. They brought you in to be the guy. It's supposed to come easy to you because you are Russell Wilson, right? It's like Mahomes going somewhere. You say Mahomes is generational talent. He's special. He's an elite quarterback. Well, an elite quarterback should be able to play in any system. But I still think they need to tailor this offense to fit to what Russell Wilson was able to do in Seattle for many years. Not only that, Jerry Jeudy is not a Russell Wilson type wide receiver. Tim Patrick, yes. Cortland Sutton, yes. Russell Wilson has never really had a slot wide receiver. Can you think of one? I can't think of a wide receiver that played slot that got plenty targets. That's not Russell Wilson.
Yeah, not a tight end, not a big slot guy.
Exactly. So he throws that moon ball that goes to the sky and drops in the bread bucket. And that's why Cortland Sutton is going to be a really good wide receiver this year once he starts to score touchdowns.
Yeah, touchdowns, exactly.
When he starts to get the touchdowns, because he's up there in yards. He's top 5 in yards. He's there in targets. He's there in receptions. So that's why I say Tim Patrick. Had Tim Patrick been healthy, oh man, you would have enjoyed Tim Patrick in this offense. Even KJ Hamler, he's a Russell Wilson type guy. He just doesn't get in the game. He just doesn't get any, so they're trying to do a lot of different things, trying to make Russell Wilson fit in this system. It's not working. You're trying to Jerry Jeudy, Russell Wilson thing doesn't really work. The tight ends, it's a mess right now. You got the running game, and you have running backs that can catch passes. Russell Wilson loves to throw to running backs. So it's like, what is it? Is Russell Wilson a system quarterback? That's what I just keep asking myself.
I'm hoping it gets better. Gosh, I don't know. Like it's terrible right now. It's disappointing every game, and they keep Melvin Gordon has fumbled 3 times already. Come on, let's make this guy a 30% workload guy. Let's get Javonte Williams 70%. I actually like the workload, so I'm not too scared about Javonte Williams. Like I'd be more worried about Javonte Williams and all these guys if the Denver offense was thriving, and you know what I mean, and then and these guys still weren't getting points. So I'm hoping it turns around. Before we jump into some underdog stuff, though, No House Advantage is changing the game by offering the most dynamic sports platform available today. Play and pick 'em contest versus other people for the shot at winning $250,000 plus in cash. Download the app, choose a contest, select your player props, and earn points for correct picks and climb the leaderboard for your shot to win big money every day. You can also test your skills versus the house and earn 20 times your entry fee if you hit all your picks. Make sure to check out No House Advantage today and experience daily fantasy sports redefined, because it's just not how you play, but also where you play. You won't want to miss out on this. Sign up now with promo code SGPN at nohouseadvantage.com or download the app to get a first deposit match up to $25. If you're like me and there's a foreign language that you regret not learning back in school, it's never too late to start with Babbel. Babbel is the language learning app that's sold more than 10 million subscriptions. Thanks to Babbel's addictively fun and easy bite-sized language lessons, you can finally cross learning that new language off your list. With Babbel, you only need 10 minutes to complete a lesson, so you can start having real-life conversations in a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Right now, you get up to 55% off your subscription when you go to babbel.com/SGP. That's babbel.com/SGP for up to 55% off your subscription. Babbel, language for life. Odds Trader is a place to compare odds from all major sportsbooks. You can also compare the different sign-up codes and promotions from sportsbooks to get the best deal. This app also provides player statistics, key game stats, injury reports, and projected game day weather for bettors to make the most informed bets possible. Key points and features include handicapping, play-by-play updates, live scores and bet tracking, and player statistics. Go to oddstrader.com/bluewire. OddsTrader, the #1 site for all your game day bets. All right, then one of the next times you see me, I'm going to have some glasses on. I'm headed up to the shop soon.
It's all good. Hey, you're doing great with these ad reads, man. I can't do it.
And I'm sitting there with the phone up on the screen here, just really trying to make it out. I'm squinting.
This is on live, man. I'm like,
you should. That's what I was doing the first couple times. I assure you. So. Jumping into these underdogs, I know you're not a big underdog guy, but hey, we're gonna take all your play. I wanted to bring you on because you're fantastic with your player analysis, and I can kind of frame it. And we'll still bring it to an underdog way, but Battle Royale is a setup on Underdog. I'll tell you and the listeners. Okay. It's a 6-man draft. It's a 6-person draft, and you're drafting 6 players, and you use the main slate, the 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock window games. So, about 12 or 13 games. Okay. And you're just so it's kind of like the underdog version of DFS instead of a cap with salaries.
Gotcha.
You're just doing a little bit of draft with 6 other players, and then it goes into a larger pool where it's kind of you're playing with 100,000 other people or whatnot.
Gotcha.
So and you have your 6-person little draft there. So it's been interesting. It's a completely new format. Underdog is gaining a lot in popularity.
I like it already.
Hey, you should. Underdog is fantastic. You should definitely download it. But it's super cool. It's a fun format. It's easy. It's so easy just to pop in and do some drafts. So just when you're thinking, so just to get your perspective on this. With a small, since we're trying to create kind of a unique setup and we're trying to, hit on a big player pool with those small lineups, as opposed to, when you have a smaller lineup, like a 6, there's a quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, a flex and a tight end. Okay. What are your main overarching strategies when you're using that small lineup versus a lineup with maybe 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, a lot of flex spots? Right. What are you doing there?
So with this sample, I'm going to hit on a tight end first.
Okay.
Because I want to get the best tight end, right? I'm going to get the best tight end. I want to get the best quarterback. Exactly. There's plenty running backs. There's plenty wide receivers, right? Especially with this, 2 wide receivers, there's a million wide receivers. So if I was doing this, I'm drafting wide receivers last. Give me the best tight end. I want Kelsey or Andrews. First of all, just to solidify, okay, I'm getting all the points from the tight end position. Then I go quarterback. I want a Josh Allen. I want a Lamar. I want one of those kind of guys, right? And then now it's like, okay, do I want Eckler? Because I'm an Eckler guy. Do I want Diggs? Do I want this guy? Do I want that guy? So yeah, I want to with this small lineup, I want to solidify those positions that are so tough to get. I'm the kind of person, I want to have the best tight end. I want to have the best quarterback. I want to have the best running back, and I want to have the best wide receiver. So if I can kind of hit it right to where, let's say this week, let's say we're playing for this week. Well, let's just say last week. Let's not say this. Let's just say last week. And I get a Lamar Jackson, and I get a Mark Andrews, get that stack. I know it really doesn't really matter too much in this format, but I get Andrews, I get Lamar. And then let's say Waddle had a big game. And I get Waddle at a good spot, and Waddle was like a top 5. Then I've gotten let's say one of those top running backs, and I feel really good about my team. Even though I haven't played this format, that's just kind of how I would approach it. I want to have the best at each position, at least one guy that I feel can come in with a top 5 position, can finish in their position top 5. And then I feel really good about in small pool, the big pool with the millions of other, players that I'm going to be playing against. So that's kind of how I would approach it.
I love that. You haven't even played it, and you already know what I was going to say. Perfect. I love it. So see, that's why I brought you on. See, that's your smart guy. You're drafted already, because the first couple of weeks I was figuring it out. I was like, man, it was a lot different. And now what do you see?
Yeah.
You see the first people in the draft are those elite quarterbacks. They're getting taken first. And I think, that's important, because it's only 6 players, and they make up so much of the scoring.
Yep.
So they make up such a high percentage of the scoring. Yeah, I'm grabbing one of those guys, and guess who's the next 2 right off the board? Mark. Well, it would be Travis Kelce, but Mark Andrews is right off the board next. So that's exactly how these drafts are going. That's exactly what you want to do. I think a lot of people. Every draft's a little different. So if you're kind of hitting if you're in that mid first round, at the end of the first round, you probably can get a quarterback and then hit Andrews, at least on a couple of drafts, if you keep doing it. So that's a greit way to start. I think that's what I've learned is, if Travis Kelce's not on the slate this week, so it literally is just Mark Andrews.
Yep.
So I'm doing multiple drafts, and I'm trying to hit that. That's exactly. I'm trying to hit one of those, preferably Lamar Jackson with the stack.
Yep.
Grab Mark Andrews, and then other than that, I'm waiting at tight end because it's a 6-round draft, and then so you can only draft 1 quarterback too. So,
gotcha.
and I think you can draft 2 tight ends, but nobody really does that.
Right,
so
right.
If you don't get Mark Andrews, you can literally wait till the end of the draft.
The
6th round, with your
exactly. Exactly.
But definitely try to get Mark Andrews in. Yeah. It's interesting. It's definitely a unique format.
If you're not first, you're last.
Exactly.
First in, first out.
So, and some other things I've noticed is, it's the double stack, which is popular in DFS, isn't quite as popular. You do play some DraftKings at all or anything like that? Yeah, so more of a redraft player and everything. But yes, of course, stacking is popular at DFS. So, I find it a little bit more advantageous just to do the single stack. But if Rashad Bateman is there in that 5th, 6th round, I have no problem doing that, especially since it's going to be such a high scoring game.
Exactly.
Lamar Jackson might be flinging it a ton. So I'm definitely doing some of that. Do you have some, I know you're not a big DFS player, but just some, do you think some quarterback receiver pairings this weekend that you think are just going to kill it? Like just for that.
Yeah. Like, unfortunately, I was thinking it was going to be Tua and Jalen Waddle for this, that didn't work. Obviously, the best stack that I've seen so far has been Josh Allen to Diggs. That's been like money. It's like, it's pure, right? Then if you're going to make things a little spicy, you got the Russell Wilson and Sutton. I think eventually you're going to start seeing a connection. So maybe that's one that you buy low. I don't know how the whole cap works, where you might get Russell for value. You might get who's the other one? Sutton for another kind of value. And then if you want to really go out on a limb and say YOLO, then you do the Wentz and Terry McLaurin. I think eventually that connection has to work. It hasn't worked since the first week, since that 1 touchdown connection. It was like a deep bomb. That's there. When you're playing a Trayvon Diggs, we know that Trayvon Diggs loves to give up those big plays. And Terry has called Trayvon Diggs his son. He's done the little rock the baby thing. And, Trayvon Diggs has owned Terry the last 2 matchups. So I think it's time for Terry to return that favor. So if the value's there with Wentz, it's probably going to be cheap. And then, but that's like going out on the limb. That's like if there's nobody else available. I don't know how that whole lineup works, but that's a stack that I see could possibly do something this week. Some of the other underrated ones that I'm starting to like more is the Aaron Rodgers to Romeo Doubs. I'm loving that a lot. I'm not sure this week versus New England, but I'm loving that a lot. But yeah, there's several different stacks, and another underrated one that could be advantageous, I don't know, because of the format, might be Zach Wilson to Elijah Moore. Everybody's predicting that Zach Wilson is going to elevate Elijah Moore. So I don't know. Maybe that's one of those buy lows and high value, upside. I don't know. But those are just some that I'm looking at, because I can kind of name like the Allen to Diggs type stuff over and over and over again. I just kind of wanted to give some unique situations to where like again, that Wentz and Terry one could be big. It really could, because when I look at this offense, even though I'm mad at these Commanders, something has to happen. Something has to pop. And I want to go out on a limb and say this is the week that Terry gets love. from Carson Wentz, and it could be a big one. So I'm just throwing it out there.
I love that. I've been putting Terry in my DFS lineups last 2 weeks, plugging him in because I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. He's too talented. I love that.
And when it happens, you're going to be happy. I don't know if it's this week. I'm hoping it's this week because this is a big, big game versus Dallas, and it's like something has to give. Jahan Dotson, as good as he's been, this is a big stage. When you go to play in Dallas, it's a big stage. Mm-hmm. Terry remembers what he had to go through last year with Taylor Heineke. So he now has a guy that can put it out there. There was a few times that Terry beat Trayvon Diggs, but noodle arm Heineke couldn't get it there. So that's why I'm thinking this is the week. With Curtis doing what he does on the inside, I think this could be the week. I could be totally wrong. But if I'm right, your lineups are going to be happy and your pockets are going to be happy. So
I like that. I'm big on Terry McLaurin as well. You know, it's a little shallow league, I think, for Zach Wilson. You know, just because like in DFS, I like Zach Wilson and Elijah Moore. That's a good pick. You know, the underdog one's a little shallow. It's only like 36 players.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, but you know, but I do like Elijah Moore, kind of maybe with that 6th round pick. I like that a lot. I think I think the chemistry could change. I think with Zach Wilson and switch it, from Joe Flacco to Zach Wilson, you don't know who he's going to have his chemistry. Joe Flacco might have been throwing a lot to Garrett Wilson in practice because they were both on the second team.
That's true.
It might end up being Zach Wilson has a little bit better chemistry with Elijah Moore, and it might help him that they're throwing downfield a little bit more.
Exactly.
We will see about that. I know you haven't jumped in a battle royale yet, but I was just going to I was highlighting some of my favorite player values, and I'll just get your perspective on those.
Okay.
So for quarterback, I had pretty much your favorite guy outside the top 3. It's Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson in the top 3 picks, and then it's a free fall at quarterback after that. So, do you have some favorite quarterbacks this weekend that you think are going to have some big statistical performances outside those 3 guys?
I think that Kyler Murray's primed for a big game. Whether Rondale Moore plays, if Rondale Moore plays, then that's an added boost, obviously. But I think that Kyler Murray it's time. It's time to make us remember who you are. Like, he's also one of those guys that can rush for 100 yards easily. But I think that this year he's just been – it's like when DeAndre Hopkins has not been there, Kyler Murray has not been Kyler Murray. And it's crazy that one man changes that entire offense. So maybe Kyler Murray could be a good play. I believe they're playing – is it Vegas? I'm not mistaken.
No, it's who? Let me pull it up really quick. They're playing the Carolina Panthers.
Oh yeah. Well, there you have it. There you have it. So yeah, he could be a good play. There was a few other quarterbacks that I had, but he's definitely a good play. Outside of those top 3 guys that you normally mention, I always try to go for the quarterbacks that have the rushing upside. Always, especially in a format like this, you want to depend on people. Like, let me give you a perfect example. It might not be for this example, but it's kind of like if you had a choice between Jameis Winston and Mariota. We know that Jameis Winston airs the ball. He's going to get all the air yards, but Mariota might get that 1 or 2 carries that gets him the same amounts of points as Jameis, if not better, if he gets that rushing touchdown. Same thing with a guy like Ryan Tannehill. So that's that little difference that there is between a quarterback that has value in running than a quarterback that's just strictly going to pass. So I always give the upside to those quarterbacks that can run and they have the ability to run. So I look at those guys first, and then I look at everybody else.
I like that a lot. I like the Kyler Murray pick. And, like I said, if you have a favorite quarterback outside of the first 3 picks, I think, you can kind of take your pick here because you can only take – it's a 6-person draft, and you can only take 1 quarterback. So those guys who took those Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, they can't take a quarterback the rest of the draft. So you're only dealing with 3 other people or 2 other people that are going to draft a quarterback. So, and which really also you need to hit, like, you know what I mean? You need to get that big guy. So if Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen are going to be the guys, you might want to do multiple drafts so you can get a couple of those guys so you can get some shares. But if we're going just a little bit deeper, and if Trevor Lawrence, I think, Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be drafted much in a 6 quarterback draft. And
right.
I think he does have the opportunity to just be in. I think Philadelphia is just going to put up points. I know the Philadelphia defense is tough, but if Trevor Lawrence is just slinging that football around, I think you could see a shootout. I can't say that it's likely, but I'll tell you this, in a DFS, when you're trying to take some chances and trying to get a little more unique, I think that's a great pick up there.
Exactly.
And Justin Herbert, I know he's hurt, but man, this guy's so talented. And now this is about as low as he's ever going to go, So
Yep. And that's another one. He does have some rushing upside. That's one thing that we don't really look at. He has some rushing upside. He will run if he has to, but he's just not going to say, hey, I'm going to run. When he has to, same thing with a guy like Patrick Mahomes. That's another one. That's outside the top three that has the right. I know you're a Chiefs fan. You know Mahomes very, very well. But the upside is there. And what I love about Patrick Mahomes is that he can explode for a 5-touchdown game at any given moment. With the weapons, without the weapons, it just takes that. He has that it factor. And you can see it from his very first game. He's special. He's a guy that I believe that can play in any single system. We're seeing him play with lesser talented weapons this year than previous years, and he's still producing at a high level. So that's another guy. He can scramble, he can move, but he chooses to use his arm because he's very smart. So,
yep. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping for I don't know what's going to happen with the rib car. I'm thinking we're going to get the Chargers offense rights at ship though. I'm not sure they're Super Bowl contenders like people thought, but I think they right the ship here. They're at least I have more faith in them than the Denver Broncos or the Las Vegas Raiders at this point for the AFC West. But I also, for the running back position, I had Cordarrelle Patterson at ADP 32.7 and Javonte Williams at 34.7 as some of my favorite values. I'm just Patterson, I just feel like he's never going to get that respect.
Right.
He's just, you just can't, when you're looking at like Eckler or Patterson, or when you're looking at some of those guys, it's just like, I can't take Patterson over these guys.
Right.
So Patterson gets just always a little bit disrespected, and I feel like he's just always going to produce. And Javonte Williams, like I said, I just love the talent. And God, this Denver offense can just somehow, just be half of what they thought, 60% of what we thought they were going to be. I feel like he's going to break out. So what are your feelings on those two guys?
No, I like Cordarrelle Patterson. The funny thing is I drafted him like late in several leagues, and he was just there. And I was trying to trade him before the season started to kind of see what was out there. I was getting 3rd-round picks back in a lesser player. I'm like, nah, now he's worth a 2nd-round pick in 23. And to a desperate team, you might get lucky and get a first. To a contending team that all they need is a running back, you'll get a 23 first for Cordarrelle. I like Cordarrelle. We keep doubting him, and he continues to produce. The guy's top 5 in rushing. The receiving upside is there, but they don't pass him the ball, which is so weird. So he's doing this as a actual real running back, and he's excelling at a high level. So, I love the Cordarrelle Patterson. I love him a lot. And who was the other running back you mentioned?
Javonte Williams.
Yeah, I love Javonte Williams. The first game was a tease. He was targeted like 13 or 14 times. He caught like 12 or 13 times. I was like, oh, man.
Christian McCaffrey.
Right. I was like, I told y'all. See, that's why I told y'all to get Javonte. And then kind of fizzles out. I'm like, come on, man. So that Javonte Williams breakout is coming. He's going to be, when it's all said and done, he's going to be an RB12 or above. He's going to be a legit RB1 this year. It's just something just has to click for that offense, like we talked about earlier. But I love both guys. I love their values, especially in your format. I think those are two guys that are so underrated. And I think both guys could be in for a big week. You got Cordarrelle playing Cleveland, and then Javonte's playing Vegas. So they could be in for a big week.
Vegas really thinks Cleveland Brown Atlanta is going to be a shootout. You would think it, but that's what Vegas thinks, and they've proven to be pretty smart over the years. They don't lose much. So
right.
So I think that could absolutely be accurate. I also highlighted for my wide receivers here, Allen Lazard. He's catching touchdowns, and that's about it. But there's just nobody there. I kind of like Allen Lazard at 35.9, and I highlighted your guy Terry McLaurin at 35.8 because I think we know your opinion on Terry McLaurin. We think he's due for a breakout. I think it's going to be any week now because he's the best wide receiver. I know that Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel are having success, but he's the best wide receiver on Washington, and I'm just waiting for that breakout. So I'm willing to bet on it while he's a little bit lower in value right now. Mm-hmm. But what are your feelings on Allen Lazard? Am I crazy? Is Allen Lazard just not very good? And I'm just holding out hope that this less talented guy, and is it Romeo Doubs going to be the guy?
Romeo Doubs. It's Romeo.
All right, that's fair.
It's Romeo. Like, see, with Lazard, man, we know who Lazard is. Lazard is a number 2 or number 3 on a particular team. Like, every time when, Adams has been out or whatever, and you want Lazard to just, be the guy, take command of the offense. This is your team. This is you are the leader of the wide receiver group. He's okay. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't flash. But what I saw in a super small sample size in Romeo Doubs last week was that he can be used in a variety of ways. He can come out the backfield. He can catch a wheel route. He can like the slant is there. He can go. I mean, it's like I'm not saying that Romeo Doubs is Davante Adams, but what I am saying is that Romeo Doubs is Davante Adams for Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm saying. Like he can be used in so many different ways, and he trusts them. Lazard is like he's almost like a one-trick pony. This is how I look at Lazard. Remember when MVS was there in Green Bay, and everybody just wanted MVS to just be this or be that, and he just goes deep. He might catch it, he might drop it, right? With Lazard, he does have talent. I'm not saying that he's not. He's very talented, but it's like what he does is limited to what Romeo Doubs can do. That's what I'm saying. So I would go Doubs over Lazard, but that's just what I'm seeing from just that small sample size. So yeah, I'll say you're crazy. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. That's why I think he's a good pick. It's because everyone thinks like you're thinking.
Right.
I think Lazard he's been in this league 5 years. He has experience. He has chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. And he's been coming back from injury. We're going to see Christian Watson come back. That's why I'm a little bit hesitant on Doubs. I'd just like to see. We'll see how this shakes out when everybody's fully healthy.
Yep.
So I'm just because of his low standing right now and the fact that there's, Doubs has had success, but there's just no dominant receiver in Green Bay. I do think Lazard is still a good pick. And maybe I'm just having a hard time because I was drafting a ton of Lazard in the summertime too. So I'm just like, maybe I'm just holding too much hope.
And Lazard is not bad. I just know that he's capped at what I think he can do. He's not bad. He's safe. He's safe. If you have two flex or three flex league, he's safe. Stick him in one of them spots and he's gonna do something for you. But when you talk about who's that other rookie? The rookie, just Christian Watson. My brother, he's a project. Okay, this guy is such a project that is crazy. I think like in the first game, Aaron Rodgers threw this guy what would have been a long touchdown, and he just drops it.
The hype would have been unreal, though. Imagine if he would have caught that. It would have been exploded.
It would have been amazing. So when I see that, all I can see is it just reminded me of MVS that one year when Rodgers had all these younger guys, Equiminius Brown, and all these young guys that couldn't catch, inexperienced, and that's just what it just reminded me of. Watson is going to get better. He definitely has all the tools, all the talent, but for right now, he has a long way to go. He has a long way to go to start being a factor. Maybe they should use him kind of like how they use Cordero Patterson. I'm just saying, run him out the backfield, line him up, throw a little screen pass to him, and just kind of build his confidence. But yeah, Lazard, right. I don't know.
All right, a little cold water. I mean, that's okay. All right, I'll get refreshed there. Before we finish up with just a quick best thing, I love it. Before we finish up with just a little bit of best ball resurrection stuff, I'm just going to do my final little promotion real quick.
All right.
Did you know that the best day of the week is actually Monday and Thursday and Sunday because it's NFL season, our favorite time of year? And whether your fantasy league's betting on your team or just taking highlights around the water cooler at work, the NFL season just got a lot better thanks to the Elias Game Plan app, the ultimate sports betting and fantasy companion for the NFL and NBA and MLB. Elias Game Plan is the only sports app from the most trusted name in sports stats, the Elias Sports Bureau, official statisticians of U.S. sports leagues. The app gives you everything you need to see this season to get a competitive edge. League validating team and player news and stats, head-to-head team comparisons ahead of their matchups, along with Elias key insights and Elias statisticians. And Elias Game Plan app is releasing new features at the time, like their chat function, which allows you to talk directly with their researchers. So you get information you need to feel comfortable when making decisions and betting on your fantasy team. Elias is the most respected research team in the industry. Quality information is key, so I'm glad that they created this app for accurate data and important context. Elevate your NFL season today and download the Elias Game Plan app. That's ELIAS. And right now I have a special offer when you subscribe. Get 15% off your annual subscription, but only if you use the promo code SGPN15. Find Elias Game Plan Sports Betting in the App Store or Play Store today and use promo code SGPN15. If you watch Fubo TV, if you watch football, you need Fubo TV. Fubo TV gives you competitive coverage of college and pro football with NFL Red Zone plus games in 4K at no extra charge. Over 100 channels of live sports and entertainment for a fraction of the price of cable. Watch on all your devices and never miss a game on your episode or your favorite shows with the included cloud-based DVR. Plus, there's no context, no commitment, and you can cancel at any time. Right now, you can try Fubo TV for 7 days and get 50% off your free month. Just go to FuboTV.com/SGP. That's FuboTV.com/SGP. Okay, and my eyes are officially expired. They're 60. I feel like I'm 60 years old. Whew. All right. Oh, I think. Oh, there we go. All right. Can you hear me now? All right. I can't hear you though. Oh, sorry. We might have lost you for a second, but I will.
I was muted. My bad.
Oh, there we go. All good, my bad. Man, I'll tell you. Oh my God, I have the eyes of a 60-year-old. Okay, I was really stretching myself there. I couldn't. Everything was blurry. So I'm gonna have to get this pulled up on the computer next time. I don't know why it wasn't working today, but thanks for bearing with me, everybody. All right, just in these last few minutes here, I'll just explain this little quick format to you. Best ball resurrection is it's a best ball, on Underdog, it's 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, a flex, and a tight end. It's it's kind of styled like all their big tournaments before the year, but it's fun because they started up in week 6. It kind of gives you a chance to redo it all. So it's just week 6 to week 17.
Nice.
So, I've just been jumping and doing some drafts yesterday. And I was just getting a feel for it. It changes every week now because the NFL season changes so much. So it's fun. I do like to do a couple drafts every week. So yesterday, since it's a shallower format, half PPR, I was at the end of the first round. I was about the 111. I took Lamar Jackson at the 111, and I took Travis Kelce at the 2-2. Mark Andrews was taken before Lamar Jackson was early. So that's how I went. I
love it.
I think it's time. I think it's time we treat Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts as special. I think it's time to move them way up. I think they provide you such an advantage. It's worth drafting super early, and that's what I think that's what I'm going to be doing next year. While everyone else is drafting some of those risky running backs,
exactly,
in the first couple rounds, I'm going to be taking one of these rushing quarterbacks who's like the quarterback. Lamar Jackson's like the quarterback 5 in pure passing and the running back 11 in pure rushing. Give me 2 starters in one.
Exactly. It's a no-brainer. Like when I went back and I was looking because I was doing like a show yesterday, and it was kind of giving me like the guys that lead in rushing, the guys that lead in passing. Lamar Jackson, 265 yards. I started feeling good about my prediction, like I told you. I'm like, this guy is a cheat code. The only quarterback in the league that can break a 70, 80-yard touchdown like it's nothing. Jalen Hurts is great. I haven't seen him break an 80-yard touchdown. Josh Allen is great, but I don't see him breaking those long ones either. So Lamar he's special. He reminds me of a souped-up Michael Vick. Remember when Michael Vick was at the top of his game and he can just make people miss and just run through people? Lamar Jackson is that special in terms of actually running the ball. Like he is a cheat code. He's like when playing Madden, you just flip the stick. Like that's, Lamar can just do so much. He's truly special, and as long as he stays healthy, man, you got something there. And it's criminal that we're getting this guy at the end of the first round, regardless of the format. It's bananas, man.
I love it. Yeah, like I said, I'd have to look at. I mean, he's outproducing some running backs that were drafted really early. As just if you take away his passing and just pure running, just pure rushing. So, so I really like. I think we need to start next year. I think I'm going to start drafting these guys a little bit earlier in drafts. I'll be fine taking them in the 2nd, 3rd round, just some standard redraft leagues. Exactly. So I'm moving them up. I think we are seeing, the quarterback evolve. Like I said, a lot of that strategy from fading quarterback came from when it was a lot of pro style quarterbacks who weren't differentiating themselves that much. So with the rushing upside of a lot of these new passers, I think it's time we change our strategies.
And let me ask you this. I play in a 1 quarterback league redraft, 5 bench, standard. It's PPR, but quarterbacks get 4 points for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. Does that change your strategy to go ahead and get one of these Russian quarterbacks even earlier?
It definitely it doesn't make me draft. That's kind of my default. So that's where I draft. That's where I consider drafting him anyway. But where the 4-6 point difference is where I really change the value of the other quarterbacks with outside of the rushing ones. So if it's 6 point touchdowns, I'll move up like Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert a little bit because they're going to throw a lot more touchdown passes.
Exactly.
I still would have Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, these guys ahead of them, but I'm moving them up a little bit. But that's kind of my standard format, and that's kind of what I'm considering when I'm saying I'm drafting them. But if it is 6-point touchdown, I'm not moving Lamar Jackson or anything down, but I am moving Patrick Mahomes maybe a little bit up.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so it's fun. It's super. Once again, Underdog's very unique in what they do. So it's a fun little draft. And I'm like I said, I don't. Where are you from, Manny?
Nashville.
I don't know, but I feel like Tennessee has some underdogs. So definitely maybe check it out. It's super fun. So just like we'll just do some real fast stuff here. Just maybe I'll find some of my favorite picks that are maybe a little bit. Josh Jacobs, RB30. Being ADP. How do you feel about that? I think that's insane.
That's good value. I think that's good value. Yeah, it's great value. Yeah.
It's just crazy. I feel like Josh Jacobs is getting opportunity. No one else is getting any workload, and the Raiders are 0-3. If it's just the Raiders and they just are not very good, maybe this is the case. But I think better days are ahead for the Raiders.
I got some breaking news. Sorry, I got to share it.
Oh, let's do it.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is out. So that kind of changes things for all of us. TJ Hawkinson. Oh, yeah. So
absolutely. So I had TJ Hawkinson as one of my, because we were kind of running low on time. I skipped my tight end values on the Battle Royale, but I had TJ Hawkinson highlighted because I thought Amon-Ra St. Brown could miss this weekend. Yep. So DJ Shark, TJ Hawkinson, and Josh Reynolds. Some potential big time plays this weekend. If you're trying to get real unique, Josh Reynolds, I think could be a big option here.
Absolutely. And DJ Shark, they said he's dealing with injuries. I've heard. So I don't know if he doesn't play, Hawkinson to the moon, but because there's no Swift, So
and and then it'll be somebody. Hawkinson.
Somebody got to.
And Hawkinson's going to need at least some production. So this is the only time it could happen is when everyone's out. I'm done with tight end. I'm done. I don't even want like when there's a first round tight, I don't even want like I used to like in 2 points per catch leagues. I used to be like, I'm giving these tight ends. It's a disaster. Like I was like a couple years ago, I'm in this $300 buy-in league, and we it's a dynasty league, and I drafted TJ Hawkinson and Noah Fant, and I was just like, whoo, you can go like to the moon. I'm like, these guys are going to be 100 yards. It's just horrible. It's like even in 2 points per catch, it's horrible. Like, I'm done.
I did a bully tight end approach. It was a 10-man, so I grabbed all the quarterbacks. I grabbed all the tight ends. I ended up with Kelsey, Mark Andrews, George Kittle, Freiermuth, Dalton Schultz, and Irv Smith. Okay, and took Taysom Hill and then traded Taysom Hill for Elijah Penny. So that approach has won me some games because of Mark Andrews and Kelsey. But Kittle, where are you? Schultz, where are you? And the thing is, those guys are my starters because I faded wide receiver for the most part, and I faded running back outside of Eckler. Was still able to get J.K. Dobbins in the 9th round. So there was some value there. So it's kind of like, but he's not healthy. But luckily, I think I'm 2-1, and I'm like second in points in the entire league. So it's not bad, and I think I'm going to win it all once my guys come back and they're healthy and everything. But bully tight end hasn't worked so far.
In my dynasty leagues, I always had the strategy: take the best player available. And for years, I would end up sometimes, I'd have a couple drafts that ended with like 4 or 5 tight ends. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm done. I'm done doing that. It doesn't work out well. So that's another shift I'm making. So it's just a desolate always landscape. Pitts and Andrews next year will be my targets, and that's it. I'll make an exception for Pitts. That's it. Manny, I know you're working today, so I don't want to keep you for too long. So before we go, though, just you want to hit us with stuff you're working on, where we can find your stuff. Just tell us about you.
So a little bit about me. I'm the host of the Back Row Commanders show. I have not recorded the last 2 weeks because my Commanders have been trash. So for those that want Redskins, those that want Commanders insight can always come to that pod and find out who's doing what. I also am the host of Talking Sports with Manny podcast and the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. That's a YouTube channel where you get everything. You get the NBA, you get the Lakers, the Wizards, you get Commanders, you get fantasy football, you get everything. It's like a buffet table. Grab what you want to eat, take that, and trash the rest. So that's where I'm at. You guys can also find me on Twitter at Manny Chakuba. That's MANNYCHOKUBA or TS with Manny.
Absolutely. And I have your Twitter handle up on the posts and everything too. So
Appreciate
definitely give him a follow. Check out his podcast. But yeah, and I'll be doing a Underdog Best Ball podcast, every Friday. And then I'd also do some writing for the Fantasy Coaches podcast and 5 Yard Rush over in England, our brothers from across the pond. So thanks for joining us, everybody, and have a great rest of your weekend. Okay. Enjoy football. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, man.